about her life and the fact that it's golden. And in every stanza, she speaks to the idea of freedom. I never really thought about the connection and what it really meant until it was time to prepare to speak to you today. That's my jam, I told you. I sing it really loud in my car. It feels like summer every time. It feels like the windows are down, it's warm outside. And just when the song comes on, that is the feeling that I see in my mind, and I even can feel it on my skin. But what I question is how freedom related to goldenness. Now, lots of times when people ask me how I'm doing or if I need help with anything, and if I'm good to go, I'll say, oh, I'm golden.
Yeah.
Yeah. But now I'm thinking that I may have misspoke. I did some research because I'm an educator. I'm supposed to research before I talk to anybody. So I did some research and I realized that unless I am free in that moment, then I'm not truly golden. So then I started thinking about, what is gold? How do we get to gold? And I realized there's a process. So the first year in my talk, I accidentally said this is a problem because this was not written on the paper. But that life itself is a refining process.
Yes.
Everything about life is a refining process. And somebody else wrote that down. God bless her. Because I didn't even know I said it. Until she wrote it down and she quoted it on Facebook. I said, oh, that was good. Don't say that. And it was me. Look at God. But then starting to think about gold. Gold has a process. And the first thing in that process is the extraction. So there are a lot of dirt and other materials that are around gold wherever it is. And you got to get to it. I remember being in elementary school and we went to, I don't know where we were, but it felt like we were over and beyond and out somewhere. We probably just were at the Eno. But it felt like we were going over the river and through the woods. I went to George Watts Elementary School right here in Durham. It's downtown, so to get to the Eno is like 10 minutes. But it felt like we were like 9 million miles away. But wherever we were, there was water. And they would give you these pans, and you would go, and there would be like a little strip table, and then water would be rushing through it. And you would, you feel like you're doing something. You get your plate or your pan or your little sifting thing, and you put it in there, and you go, nothing. Nothing. Oh, I got something! You don't know what it is, but I got something. And if it was any type of rock that looked like it might be slightly transparent, that means it was a gem or jewel, and you could put that on a necklace. Nobody ever did that. But you could put it on a necklace. You were going to go to the jewelry shop and you would get something special made. But if you wanted the really lucky ones, you would get something that looked like gold. But in order to get to that, there had to be sifted. It had to be separated and set apart from something else. Now that is a smaller way of doing it, but that is very real. Even when they're doing gold mining in other ways, a lot of times they'll go through this water process and they sift it from the other rocks and materials. Then there's hard mining, like when we think about gold rush, and you think about doing tink, 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 they want to get it, boom, they want to get that gold. And they were knocking it out from the other rocks in a ton. There's something called leaching, and it's where you put water and chemicals and you're trying to get the gold out. But regardless, you're trying to separate the gold from the other things around it. So that's the extraction process. But then there's the refining process. That's when they take the gold and they melt it, they put it with some chemicals, and they separate it a little bit further, and then they melt it, and then they end up purifying it from the inside out. So then I was like, oh, that's still taking it away from something. But then when I look at the specific vocabulary they use, when they talk about the gold process, the extraction into the refining, they use two very different terms. One is separation, the other one is purification. I said, well, isn't that the same thing? Because I question a lot of things in my mind. And I was like, no, that's not the same thing. So I was an English major. So I went to the dictionary. Why not?
Yeah.
And I looked up the terms. And it says separation, it's a noun. It's the state or action of being moved or being removed or set apart from something. Purification, on the other hand, is a noun and is the removal of contaminants from something, the process of extracting something from a substance. So, when we think about separation, we're thinking about being set apart or taking you out of something. Purification is taking something out of you. So when we think about refining, that is a purification process. So when I go back to the lyrics, Jill talks about all this, and she's living her life like it's golden. But every verse she's just talking about freedom. So the question is, what does that have to do with the prostitute in China? I mean, what does it have to do with it? But then I realized gold is purified. So is our freedom. So the first thing we learn from her is that freedom is real. She reminds us to acknowledge our bondage. Because the first thing she says, she's taking her freedom off the shelf. If you have to take it from somewhere, obviously you're not wearing it. Obviously you don't have it. But you have to acknowledge that you don't, because you won't go get it. That's right. If you don't know you don't have it. So if you're not free, then you're bonded. So you got to get out of your bondage. She states that while she's getting it off the shelf, she wants to wear it. We have to wear our freedom. We have to put it on. But first, we have to figure out what we're bonded to so that we know what to take off. Because you don't want to have a whole bunch of stuff on. You're not going to get anywhere. So the question is, what are you bonded to? One thing that a lot of people are bonded to nowadays, especially my 19-year-old son, whose thumbs I think are going to fall off, are our cell phones. We miss so many things and so many moments because we're so in this. Right. Oh, I just need to check on my kids. Oh, I just want to look this up on the internet. Oh, I saw that YouTube clip. I want to make sure I save that and tag it on the Facebook page. I want to watch it later. But in that moment, you are missing something. Yeah. You're missing something. And I thought at one point in time I was doing okay because I would take my cell phone and record things. Now, please know, I'm not telling you not to do that. But I also noticed that I wasn't in that moment as much because I wasn't looking at it live. It was happening live, but I wasn't looking at it live. It was right there, and I was still missing it, watching it. Because I wasn't in that moment. Are you bonded by a group of people or a certain organization? Sometimes we get so into groups or so into individuals, we can't do anything else because we feel so obligated to take care of that. Should you really? That should not be your top priority. And if it stops you from doing something else that can get you to a new place, what are you doing wrong? Are you bonded to your thoughts about yourself, your looks, your abilities, your attitude? Are you limiting yourself from your full potential? Are you so, oh, that's me. Girl, I'm doing me. That is me. That's how I do. But do you have to? So the question is, do you acknowledge those things? And if you do, will you let them go to get you somewhere else? So you can be free to go. Second thing is that freedom is movement. She talked about it's going to take her far in a car. It takes me far, that song does in my car, but that's not my true freedom, but it takes me, ooh, I go places. Are you free to move about to the next place you need to go? When you're in bondage, you're stuck and you can't go anywhere. You can't do anything. You can't get there. So you can't be living your life like it's golden because you're not free. The next thing she talks about is that freedom is joy. Now, when I'm happy, and I know it, I clap my hands, I step my feet, sometimes I say, all right. I shout with joy. But when I'm really happy, I'm singing. Let me tell y'all, my car concerts are amazing. To my car concerts, I don't even know if you can afford it, because people hate that amazing of a show. Because nobody can sing better than me in my car. I sing better in my car than I do in my shower. But now please know, I only sing better in my car when it's just me in the car. Unless my jam comes on, then I don't care who's in the car. We're going And I just told y'all, I don't sing the same way with the other people in the car. Why am I not free to sing in the car? When they're in the car, I think it's because I'm really giving them a free car concert. Let me think about that. Because they need to pay for that ticket. But if you're timid or not confident, you're not walking in your freedom. You have got to have the fullness of that joy to have your true freedom. And finally, freedom is your godly birthright.
Yes.
God gave us free will. Start there. You're free. The day you were born, you were given that free will. You can do whatever you want to do. But like I told you, my real children, like the ones I birthed and the ones that I didn't, the two that I didn't birth that live with me that I own them. But I told every student I ever had, I probably told my staff members this too. You can do whatever you want to do, but there's a consequence to every single action. It can be a positive consequence, it can be a negative consequence. But it's going to be a consequence. But you can do whatever you want to do. You can come in late if you want to. And my face was just like, if you want. You can do all of your work if you want to. You can crash car if you want to. You do whatever you want to do. But there's a consequence for everything. But when we're talking about freedom, there's a consequence to freedom. You can have whatever you want. You can do whatever you want, as long as you choose that freedom. But I'm going to give you some biblical references. If you go to 2 Corinthians 3:17, it says, now the Lord is a spirit, and where the spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Just so you know, in case you didn't know, God is everywhere. Yes. So freedom is as well. In John 8:36 it says, so if the Son sets you free, then you will be free indeed. You've been set free. The price has been paid. You're free. Galatians 5:13. Now this was one of my favorites. It says, you, my brothers and sisters, are called to be free. You're supposed to be free. But do not use your freedom to indulge the flesh. Rather, serve one another in love. The refining life is my love to you. Amen. It's the gift I have been called to give to you. This is a love offering. But you can still choose whatever you want to do with that freedom. But I believe in the law of reciprocity. I believe that you reap what you sow. Sow love, get love. Sow hate, get hate. What are you doing with your freedom? Are you embracing it? Have you hugged that freedom? Or is it still up on the shelf? Have you allowed yourself to go through the processes of separation and purification so that you can experience your own true freedom, any apart from those things that have been keeping you from being really, purely you? Do you know you? Have you met you? If you have no clue, if you're still finding you, honey, I don't know if you're free to be you yet. Because you are you. You woke up, you were you. Know that to take freedom off the shelf and to truly embrace it, you must first free your mind. So a wonderful group way back in the day, not way back in the day, come on now. Imbo. And they sang a whole song, freedom, and the rest will follow. That's not just words, it will. Free your mind, and the rest will follow. So today I charge you to dig in. Dig in. Every single breakout presenter is here to give you something else to free your mind. Take the moment right now to choose to get your gold. But that means you got to go through the process. Live this day, today, like it's gold. Go through the process, be refined, and be